So I'm here with Dan Greenwald, who's creative director on Forza Motorsport 6. So, you guys are adding night racing and weather, but this isn't just about sort of visual changes, right? This is about how it plays as well.
You know, our fans have really wanted night racing and rain racing for a long time in Forza, but we were going to do it the Forza way. That's about quality, attention to detail, kind of the things we're known for. So now, 24 cars on track, 16 in Forza Motorsport 5, and a solid 60 frames per second, 1080p, with these huge splashes, which is great graphics, and you see the lens effect, but it's the physics. When you drive across a puddle, you hydroplane. When you're driving on wet pavement versus clag versus sealant versus paint, they all have different friction. All of that was meticulously researched. Even the placement of the puddles was researched heavily by our team. Same attention to detail was given to night. When you're driving down the Mulsanne Strait, it's pitch black out there in the sky. It's not a dark version of day with some stars in it, it's black. And you're hopefully stressed, and that's what racing's about. We throw environmental challenges at you the way they would in the real world and stress you out.
So, one of the things about racing in the wet in particular in most video games is people hate it. They try it once and they're like, it's just lowered grip basically, and it's almost undrivable. So one of the things I realized when I played it is actually there is a sort of strategy to it, and changing your lines and things makes sense in this game.
Absolutely. So you're right, there's things about the wet that you learn when you're a professional race car driver, and those are the things we want you to learn when you play Forza Motorsport. Now our goal is not to just make it harder by just diminishing friction. Some friction diminishes more than others, but we also put wet tires on your car when you come into that event. The biggest thing is the change you're going to have in your line. So you notice it on Brands Hatch. We research where the puddles are, and there's some puddles that are actually on your normal racing line, and so you really are better off avoiding them and taking a longer line, but staying out of the hydroplaning zone in the middle.
But I guess if you're getting really tech, you could start doing things like dipping a tire into the wet just to give yourself a little more rotation and get around the corner?
And all of that works, and in fact, even the way the tires heat up and cool down is going to be dependent on that.
And you guys are adding now 24 car grids. That's pretty substantial. It's going to be tough to fight your way from the back to the front, but all those guys are driver tars as well, and you've worked on the driver tar stuff as well, right?
Yeah, so since the launch of Forza Motorsport 5, we did a lot of changes. We did updates and changed the driver tar system and many other things as well. And then Forza Horizon 2, we actually had new improvements came in the driver tar system. Now with Forza 6, your driver tar, all of our driver tars are already racing in it, so it's a great test bed. We heard our fans, they wanted the driver tars to be able to be more professional, so we have a toggle. You can switch it so that they'll be just more professional. But if you want your friend's driver tar in their raw form, you get that as well. The cool thing about 24-player multiplayer and the new driver tars is the more humanity we got out of the data. Millions of data points from all the people that have played 5 and Horizon 2. We were able to have the servers go re-research and dive deeper into the behavior. So now faster drivers drive even faster because they use more of the car. They really wind out those back tires. It looks like they're kind of oversteering, but they're not drifting, because that's the fastest way to use some cars. Some people are locking up front tires or over-braking and braking and turning, and the driver tars now mirror all of that behavior. So slower drivers are slower, faster drivers are faster, and they can all be more professional.
Now, obviously, you guys have a ton of content carried over from Forza 5. You've got a couple of years worth of DLC, including great stuff like pre-war Grand Prix cars and things like that. But what has been your sort of focus with the sort of new content that you're bringing to Forza 6? What's been your kind of priority?
Well, first off, yes, we've got a lot of new cars that came in with PDLC, and there's a lot of new cars that came in just because they're just for Forza Motorsport 6. We've got a lot of touring cars like BTCC and WTCC that we've added, so it's kind of a Forza Touring Car League. So that's a lot of new cars, but the things I get most excited about are the new research projects we do. And a lot of that's been old cars, old tires, old rain tires, old racing slicks, bias ply, pre-war, as well as different performance tires, plus new tires are coming out all the time. The tire industry never stops. So we're always doing more research. So there's hundreds of tire compounds represented in this game now on all of these OEM cars. But I love the flex of the body. You get two cars, like pre-war, perfect example, where there's some wood in there and there's some metal in there and probably some popped welds, honestly. You can get two cars that are the same weight, the same tire width, the same horsepower, but they drive totally differently. Well, it's a very difficult thing for a simulation engine to do, to have that as well as modern Grand Prix cars and Indy cars and all of that. So I'm really proud of what the team's done with their research to put the simulation on the cutting edge.
Now, we need to talk about Porsche a little bit, because that was a pleasant surprise when those cars were made available in Forza Horizon 2. Yep. And they are going to be made available in Forza 6 as well, but not at release, right?
Correct. So yes, they were launched in Forza Horizon 2. There's a 10-car expansion pack. It's for $10. And it's great seeing Porsche back in Forza. But you're right, I can't give you a lot of details about Porsche and Forza Motorsport 6. We'll be announcing more in 2016.
Excellent. Now, one of the things about Forza 5 was it had a very freeform kind of career mode. Freedom was great, but a lot of people need a bit of direction as well, right? So have you guys changed things up this time around?
Yeah, you're exactly right. We were trying something new in Forza 5, and it was great for a certain player type, and we have a very diverse group of players. But we also have a lot of players that are looking for a more guided tour of this great content. We also have a lot more tracks, so we wanted to guide people through these experiences. Plus there's night and there's rain. We need to ease people into these experiences. But it's not even about the usability. It's about the stories we can tell, the stories of motorsport. So there's still a lot of choice. Just like in Forza 4, there was a lot of choice, but we're still going to hold players' hands and get them to experience classics versus new versus race cars and what have you. It's a 70+ hour career, and there's showcase events that allow you to play end-level content. Grand Prix cars, Indy cars, Le Mans cars. You don't have to pick up the cars, you don't have to add them to your garage, you don't have to wait for 40 hours, you can just drive them in the beginning, and they're hosted by famous automotive drivers and celebrities.
So we're talking Top Gear presenters, Tanner Faust, guys like that, right?
Absolutely, as well as professional race car drivers like Mark Skaife from the V8 supercars, other drivers as well.
So that kind of inspiration is something that I really loved about Forza Motorsport 4, was that kind of, for the Rivals events, you took inspiration from real life events. Is that what you're doing this time around?
We are, and also different types of disciplines like autocross, things that we've had. Some of it's rearranging stuff you're familiar with 4 into a way that people can get into that experience as they want to. We also have endurance events, so longer events in the game, and you can jump straight into those in the showcase events. And yes, those are similar to what you'd see with racing at Le Mans or racing at Spa.
Cool. Dan, thank you very much.
Absolutely, thank you.